Hi folks, and welcome back. It's chili day. It's the most exciting day of the season for me. Chili seeds, oh, I absolutely love it. It's the 6th of January today. I like to get them done on the 1st, but it doesn't need to be on the 1st. I've been a bit relaxed about it this year, and this is going to be a nice chill video. I'm just going to be sowing the seeds, showing you what varieties I've got and that kind of thing. I am this year doing a dedicated guide series, so do look out for that over the next few days if you're more interested in just the hints and tips for getting your chilies off to a good start and what you need to be doing as the season goes on. Probably going to do a video every few months or something like that at the key stages, you know, of the plant's development. And I just thought it was finally time. I've been thinking about it for ages and I've been growing chilies for so long, you know, it's the one thing I can grow. You know, I'm pretty hopeless on the allotment, but chilies is the one thing I can do. And so I think it makes sense to finally do a bit of a grow series. Anyway, let me get all the stuff and we'll get started. Okay, so what I would normally do, this is my big propagator, heated propagator, and what I would normally do is put 2 seed trays in here, and that would be 80 chili plants. Each of these container-wise cells. This is the only one I've got at home, and I do have a bigger one, but I've started planning out the seed trays, and I think actually it makes sense for me to just do one of these, which is it's really weird to say out loud, right? I've got a polytunnel now. You know, I've got more space to grow chilies than I've ever had before, but I always grow too many. And this year is the year I'm finally listening to myself and growing slightly fewer and giving them more space. I want fewer plants, which are much healthier. That's the theory. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is just one of these seed trays. And this year as well, I've thought a lot more about which pepper plants are going to go where. I'm also slightly mindful of the fact that I'm about to start dismantling one of my greenhouses, so just in case that all goes a bit sideways, hopefully, even if it does, that should be well resolved by May, but just in case, doing far fewer peppers this year, both in terms of varieties. So for example, this year I want 4 or maybe 5 ring of fire plants, which I've never done before. The ones that I really know I like, I'm aiming to have 2 or 3 of those pots so that I get a much more consistent harvest. So I'm just going to be doing one of these trays today, which is still 40 plants, which is plenty. That's plenty of chilies. And what I would normally do is for each variety that I wanted to grow, I'd do 2 cells just in case one didn't succeed. And then I normally do 1 or 2 seeds, depending on how many seeds I've got in the pack. This year, I'm going to go a little bit more restricted because I'm just using this one. So one of these cells might only have 1 variety. I'm probably going to do 3 or 4 seeds just in case. So all told, when I come to sort of pot this on and divide it up, it won't be that many fewer plants actually. But that's the plan anyway. And because I actually have slightly run out of space, I'm going to do a bit of a test. This is going to be a year of experimentation as well. I've got loads of experiments planned for auto pots and quad grows, and what if you grow in the ground, what if you sow a bit later, all sorts. But there's a few extras as well, the grown local ones. I'm going to be just doing those straight into a small 3-inch pot to see how they do. So I'm going to get these filled up. This is just going to be silver grow in here, nothing else as well, because these are absolutely solid and robust. What I've done this year is drilled a little hole in one of the corners, because what I normally do is just cut a corner off, and then I know that's my bottom left. I always have the cut bit in the bottom left. So we've got a little hole, and that's because I do most of the plans on Seedsio online. So that way I don't have to mess around with labels at this stage. I find labels at this stage, when you've got propagators and lids and you're moving them around a lot, labels that you stick in the soil can be a bit temperamental. So yeah, let's get these full of silver grow. I find that using another tray just on top is quite a good way of making sure it's fully compressed. Okay, so we've got the silver grow ready. I've got my Seedsio seed tray. Really useful little website program, Seedsio. I recommend you check it out. I find it particularly useful for the seed tray element. I use this every year. Really, really cool. Lots of other stuff that Chili Chump is building into this as well. And let's just go in with the seeds, starting with the Chili Chump seed kit. Talking of Chili Chump and Seedsio, this one I grow absolutely every year. It's a little collection that loads of us grow all together and kind of compare and contrast on Chili Chump's Discord. Really, really cool. The starting one is stupidly hot. Bleeding Jigsaw, 1.6 million Scoville, silly. The Chili Chump Jalapeno, which is also quite hot. I've never grown this one before, but 12,000 Scoville, that's quite hot for a jalapeno. The Chili Chump Piri Piri, which I'm actually giving a miss this year. I've grown that one before. Very cool plant. Piri Piris are gorgeous plants, very, very unique leaves and a really cool growth structure, but the peppers just aren't really for me. It's just tiny peppers as well that I struggle to harvest efficiently. It's good if you've got lots of peri-peri plants, I think. Hainan Yellow Lantern, very excited for this. Chili Chump has talked about this one for years. I've never grown it. A kind of orange habanero, I think. The Malawian Piquante, which is very, very exciting for me. Only 2,000 Shu, Scoville heat units, meant to be really nice pickled. And then the Ring of Fire is in here this year, which probably one of my all-time favorite peppers. It's the question I get asked a lot, what is my favorite pepper and what do I recommend growing for beginners? It's the same answer, it's the cayenne. And the Ring of Fire is basically a very hot cayenne. Cayenne is the ubiquitous pepper. If you look at the chili pepper emoji, it's a cayenne style of pepper, you know. It's just fantastically sweet and smoky. It's just a blinking great pepper. It gives you a nice early harvest, annum, so it grows fast, nice and easy to grow. That's the one I recommend for beginners. The other question I get asked the absolute most is what mild chilies I recommend for people to try out if you don't like too much heat. And to be honest, I'm not the greatest person to ask. I don't do too many mild peppers. I'm doing a lot more this year, which I'll show you. But what I do recommend you do actually is just go to the seed suppliers that I've had really good experiences with and type in mild in their search or look for their mild peppers. Chili Chump Seeds, absolute #1 go-to. I absolutely love his store. His seeds are fantastic and it's just nice to support, you know, like a real one-man band. Similar to Grown Local, he's just started selling chili seeds. These are meant to be germinating really well. I've not tried mine yet, obviously, but just go and have a look, see what takes your fancy. And here's a few that I recommend. The Poblano is a really nice kind of big peppers, not super productive though. Pepperoncini, meant to be really nice. I saw some of those on Chili Chump's store. One thing that is quite nice if you're growing your own is look for a capsicum baccatum, one of the baccatum peppers, because you don't see those sold very often and they have a very unique, the kind of floral, fruity flavors, things like the Brazilian starfish, ají lemon, or the lemon drop is quite good. Norteño I had once, that was really nice. The Champion, which was my favorite pepper of last year, I'm pretty sure that was a baccatum. The Sugar Rush Stripey, Sugar Rush Peach, they're around 30,000 Scoville, so they're getting into the hot ones, but some of the baccatums have really, really cool flavors. Okay, so I'm just gonna rattle through the list in no particular order. We've got the mild gochu. This is one that I saved my seed from, the Korean mild pepper that I grew. I've actually got some down here. These are some from the last harvest that have just dried so nicely. And we had some of this in a butternut squash soup the other day and oh my goodness, really like strong, unique flavor that came out of these. Super smoky and kind of like an umami thing going on. It was just, oh, really, really cool. So I've got all of this that I've dried. These are just the last few. But I've kept all of this kind of gochugaru, like chili flakes, in their own container, and they're just so fantastic. So the mild Korean, I definitely want to do a few of those next year. So I've got 3 cells for those. Sugar Rush Stripey, classic. California Wonder, now that is a big pepper, and this is one I want to do lots of testing with. Probably 90% of these are Chili Chump seed. California Wonder, big pepper. The Antep Ají Dolma, I think that's how it's pronounced. Another mild, I think around 500 Shu. The Beaver Dam, another big mild pepper. The Champion, which is smaller peppers, one of the baccatum, but just so good. The Thunder Mountain Longhorn, that's a new one for me. I'm really excited by this one. Super long, thin peppers, kind of cayenne flavor profile, but looks really cool. The Ring of Fire, which I've said, Hainan Yellow Lantern. I think I've said most of these actually. The Chili Chump Brainsaw, what's it called? The Jigsaw Brain even, not so much. This is a Chili Chump cross that he's made, a cross of the 7-pot brain strain and the Jigsaw. I'm only doing 3 super hots this year. The Jigsaw Brain, the Bleeding Jigsaw, and the Primotali Red. So this one is from Troy Primo, one of the new stock that Chili Chump, only 5 seeds. This is a rare one. So this is meant to be scary. So I'm only doing 3. I normally do a lot more super hots. I've calmed that right down because I find I don't use most of it, to be honest. I've got a couple from Khang Starr, another amazing YouTuber and a brilliant chili breeder. I've got the Sweet Queen Hi. It was tricky to choose from, but a lot of his are really quite spicy. So I've gone for some of the milder ones this year. And then I've got here, this one we had a saga with last year, the Khang Starr Lemon Starburst. And we've now got one seed left. Unfortunately, this was my sickliest plant last year, and I had one going right to the end, and it had one really good looking fruit on, but it wasn't ripe. So I thought, instead of keeping the seed from that, which I don't think would have been viable, the pepper was still really green. I tasted a little bit, no flavour, just completely green, unripe. That's a good indication the seeds wouldn't have come true. So we've got one seed. We've got one chance this year again to get a nice Khang Starr lemon starburst. And the last one, very interesting. This one is a secret pepper from Thompson & Morgan, which hasn't been announced yet, but it is a pubescens. And then from Grown Local, we've got the Machu Pichu, the Zimbabwe Black, and the red habanero, just a classic, but I haven't actually done a red habanero in a long time. And this one, which is really cool actually, this one, the Havana Gold. And I'll tell you why this is cool. It's because it was one of the first chili peppers I ever grew. The red habanero actually is the first chili pepper I ever grew. My dad gave me a plant and I killed it, but it did sort of last a season, and then I overwintered it and it didn't survive the next year. So I didn't kill it straight away. But yeah, the Havana Gold is one of the first that I ever had that did well when I first started growing chili peppers in 2016. So a little bit of a sentimental one for me. And this is one you see quite a lot in garden centres and that kind of thing. And from what I remember, it had a really cool smoky taste. It was really, really smoky. So very excited to give this a go. I'm gonna get them into the silver grow now and then get them on the heat. If you want to know a little bit more in depth the process that I'm going through, look out for that guide video in the next few days. Thank you ever so much for watching, and an extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper tier patrons, Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Andrew. Hopefully, I'll see you again next time.